This is why I don't trust Andrew Tate. Now, I'm not trying to say that everything he says is bad and that maybe you shouldn't listen to him, because he can be very motivational. He certainly helped me out through some dark times, listening to the way he just says, don't care. He's helped me get over heartbreak and things by just getting up and getting on with it. Yeah, I agree. Beautiful. Um, but the reason why I don't trust him is because I'm very much aware of how the system operates, who runs the system behind the scenes, all that jazz. And for a long time, I remember a lot of conspiracy theorists speaking about how what these elites want to do is put out like a public figure, something like how they speak about how some sort of Christ figure or Jesus figure or something will appear and everyone will then follow them, and then they'll build that one world religion of the New World Order. Well, what if that looks slightly different and it's not some guy like Jesus who's going to walk on water and then everyone's going to follow in that direction? A lot of people think this could be Donald Trump, but I don't think so. I think it could be someone like Andrew Tate, because what is it when someone is like a god and everyone starts following them? What is a one world religion? Well, surely it's where everyone adopts the same belief system. It's when one person's mind now gets transported into everyone else's mind, and everyone's like with religion. It's you're replacing your mind with this book, the Bible, now, or the Quran, or whatever it is. So anytime anyone asks you a question, you don't actually have original thoughts. You just get this book up, and then you respond via the book. And if any questions contradict the book and stuff like that, then it's a like cognitive dissonance goes on in the mind, which is where you have one belief system that you already have, another one comes in and it's conflicting what you believe, and you struggle to change the belief system. Now, with someone like Andrew Tate, you got to wonder how he really got to power. And I know when people rise to fame and success, it's not always because they bought it or someone, like the Freemasons, they helped someone rise. Obviously, that does happen in the celebrities and out there. I know some people can just work really hard, then out of the blue everyone thinks you got lucky overnight, and it's like, no, they were actually working for like 10 years straight or whatever it was. They've done their 10,000 hours and they actually absolutely deserve it. It's not always luck. But someone like Andrew Tate, if you know anything about the Satanic Network, if you know anything about the Freemasons and how they work, they've got 33 degrees to the Freemasons. Each degree is like a level, and it's interesting because there's 33 vertebrae in the spine, and the spine is the information highway. And obviously, as you raise your consciousness, the Kundalini awakening, you become awake. So I'm sure the 33 degrees in Freemasonry has to do with that. But I was wondering, maybe if Andrew Tate was set to be a figure like this of worship, in this sense that maybe you're not worshipping him, but a lot of society is going to become like Andrew Tate. And what is one of the things that they want to create in this whole New World Order? I know David Icke, he speaks of like a jungle-like atmosphere. And what would a jungle-like atmosphere look like? First of all, the reason why they want a jungle-like atmosphere in society is because the more immorality there is, the lack of morality in society breeds more rules and laws, and obviously they want to microchip the survivors of that thing they put in your arm and whatever else. They want to keep consciousness trapped so that the Archons, the rulers, can feed off of us and maintain control over humans. And whilst Andrew Tate claims to help people escape the Matrix, he is massively promoting a jungle-like atmosphere by constantly promoting competition. And we all know that this is 3D consciousness. If we talk about 5D consciousness, we're talking about higher state levels of awareness and perception. We're talking about unity and oneness. We're talking about love and compassion, which is operating from unconditional love rather than judgment, fear, or competition. And, I want to do well in my life, but I don't want to destroy anyone else in order to get there. I want, like, my job as a starseed on this planet, my job as a soul that's come here as a light worker to help raise the vibration of this planet and help humanity out of slavery. I promote unity and oneness. I want to see everyone thrive. Like, my job is to help light workers express their message and create a purpose-based business where you're free to be out of the matrix just because you're expressing your natural talents, your God-given abilities. These are the things that, if we work on the blueprint of the seed, which is within all of us, we evolve into our flower, which is what we're giving off our fruits. When you share in the language of enriching, you receive in the language of enriching. But through the programming of the system, what's happened is we don't trust ourselves and we lose connection to the intuition. So a lot of light workers out there are here to help people raise their consciousness into the 5D. Out of separation, duality, materialism, fear, and survival, which is where most of society lives. And as long as I do agree with a lot of what Andrew Tate says. A lot of it is very fear promoting, and it's very much duality, and it's very much competition. And this is promoting that jungle-like atmosphere that people like David Icke, these conspiracy theorists, talk of in their books when they say that the network wants to promote this jungle-like atmosphere so they can put more laws on us. And we all have to look after each other. So I've got a question. Do you think someone like Andrew Tate could be what, all these people that follow the Bible and this story that Christ will return, could it be someone like Andrew Tate? I think with the Freemasons, I've met Freemasons, because when you go for a spiritual awakening, like for me, I know as a soul who I am, I constantly have been put into situations where, like for example, I worked at a barbershop and the person who owned the barbershop was a witch and her dad was a Freemason. And this is because the Archons, they set you up in situations where they have links to, through these Freemasons and stuff, they can control you and they can learn about you, keep tabs on you, right? And then I moved to a different barbershop later on in my life, and the owner of that was a Freemason, and I didn't see it as them trying to do anything to me. I thought, okay, well, actually, God's put me here, and what can I learn about Freemasonry? Maybe I'll ask some questions. And I know that in Freemasons, for example, like the guy who was a Freemason in the second barbershop I worked at, he told me that basically Freemasons, they have access to information before the public does. Like a lot of properties that go up for sale or rent in the area, the Freemasons will get first dibs on it, so they can get these things at a much cheaper price before other people. And I think a lot of them have to pretty much sell their soul to get into it, at the higher levels anyway, not at the lower levels. I'm sure it's just like a boys group to get people in, but I'm not sure because I don't know what sort of things they have to do. I know these people that I have met, I know that some of them are good people, but at the same time they have sneaky motives and stuff. The way that I found out that this guy was a Freemason is because he had a ring on and it had the Freemason, whatever you call it, their symbol on it, and that's how I started asking him about it. And at first he didn't want to tell me. He said he just bought it because he thought it looked cool, but I knew more about it. So could this be why Andrew Tate led to such fame, and he's got so much power now? And obviously the reason why the Freemasons would give him so much power is because he's a strong voice I know that when Satanists are recruiting people, they do a psychological profiling on the people to get the right people, and they really will ask you a massive, really in-depth questionnaire about who you are, because they want the people that already align with their beliefs, a lot of their psychotic beliefs. And so, could this be what happened and how Andrew Tate actually rose to fame? Could it have been through the Freemason system? Because, like I said, he promotes very much a jungle-like atmosphere. It's all about like war, constantly. And if people keep aligning to this competition, war, you know, that's what's going to create the jungle-like atmosphere. And whether there's actually someone walking around walking on water like a Christ figure, or it's just someone with such power and influence like Andrew Tate, very much the same. It's very much the same psychological thing. People are still replacing their mind, and it's a worship of an ideology. So let me know your thoughts on Andrew Tate. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section below. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. Let's talk about this. I just wanted to make this video so we could open up a space to discuss these things. So yeah, let me know. Also, if you want to learn more about what I do, and if you are a light worker and want to create a purpose-based business, check out my Patreon in the link in the description box below. I also have a new book out called The Purpose-Based Business Creator's Handbook. It's going to help you put what's in your mind into a tangible business and help you free yourself from the matrix and into 5D consciousness. It's going to allow your spirit to come through and actualize in the human experience. All right, so I really appreciate you. Thanks for being here. Let's talk about it. Peace and love, my friends.